So, hello and welcome to the Love is Summit. This is Erica Glessing, and I just set the intention when this summit showed up in my head to create of raising the love vibration on the planet. And I really wanted to give you, as the listener, some tools and guidance. My guest today is such a beautiful being, and she's someone I work with also. She's really fun to have her here. She's an amazing doctor and healer, and she teaches love differently than most people. And I'm really excited to have this energy and teachings for you today, the listener, from Dr. Kim Duramo. How are you, Dr. Kim?
Hi, Erica. I'm great. It's gonna be really fun.
We have so much fun together. We're always creating something, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the heart. And, you know, our society is so into the head, right? And we process so many things with our cerebrals. It's not really a word.
Not understood about the heart by most kind of even conventional scientists. There's a lot of science to show not just what's happening physiologically in your heart, but electromagnetically, how there are messages from the heart to every other area in your body. And these electromagnetic messages create chemical changes, create brain activity changes, create new awarenesses, create totally different functioning, and open up a lot of possibility that didn't really exist before. Meaning, you know, if you're in a circumstance and you're in fear, oh my gosh, how is this going to work out? Oh my gosh, how am I going to heal my body? Oh my gosh, nothing ever works out for me. It's not okay. You're in a suppressed state. So it's like you don't even see possibilities that are right there. Even your brain activity will sort of match that. So you have all the memories of all the times you failed, or all the memories of all the limitations you've bought into and why that's true. But when you connect with the heart, even just feel the space around your heart, put your hand on your heart, breathe into your heart. I know Marcy Shimoff has shared a great like a heart coherence breathing from.
Yeah, we do that on the summit, right? Yeah.
Imagine she did, because she just one, and it's really powerful. The reason that works is because the electromagnetic, the bioelectric signals from your heart to everywhere in your body, to your brain, even to beyond your body, to other people, is thousands of times more powerful than the signals being sent from the brain. And that's a totally different way of seeing it, because we think we got to figure it out. We got to think, we got to know. There's the logic and there's the feeling and the awareness. So the mind and then the mind and then the heart. And we have totally discounted the awareness that comes through the heart.
Fascinating.
Crazy, because so much wisdom gets registered at that level.
You use the word in one of your videos, heart coherence. Mm-hmm. And I'd heard that before, but maybe you could just explain to this audience that whole thing of like coherence. And I also kind of got, when I was even saying the words, like being in alignment or being out of alignment, which is something I know you teach so much. So why don't you just share with us kind of what that means for our audience, and then what we can do to be in better alignment.
When we're in what's called a coherent state, it's really, really powerful, and it ignites healing in the body. It ignites possibilities in your life. And what coherence is this inner knowing of the heart, where there's wisdom, where it's the awareness of, I am a beautiful being worthy of love and belonging just because I exist. And when you feel into that, and just close your eyes for a minute and feel into that, I'm a precious, cherished, loved being, worthy of love and receiving, worthy of belonging just because I exist, just because I'm breathing on the planet. When you feel that, you just have the awareness. Does that feel good in your body? Does that feel bad in your body? So just check in with that.
I love that. I love just going into the expansion of the heart.
So when you even just ask the question though, like you have the awareness, that feels good in my body. Yeah?
Yeah.
And so when you're in the alignment with that, it creates a different communication between the heart and the brain, and between the heart and the body. So now there's what's called coherence. Now I want you to feel into your body and take a few breaths and just feel into, I'm a weakling. I'll never make it. Nothing works out for me. Life is hard. It's not okay. And then feel into your body. And how does that feel?
Oh, it's just so rotten. It's like all those lies that I was told get bought into. It's like all these, right? It's all the things that the people said that were the naysayers, you know, like where the Munich school teacher told Einstein, you know, oh, you'll never amount to anything. That's the energy of that. It's very yucky.
Your body has an innate intelligence that is already aligned with that truth. It's aligned with the truth that I am worthy of love and belonging just because I exist. And it's discordant when you buy into anything that's the opposite of that. And that could be anything from, oh, there's no good men, so I just got to kind of make do with settling for this one. Or, oh, you got to work really hard for money. It doesn't come easy. You can't just expect it to grow off the tree. Like anything that's out of alignment with the ease and fluidity with which we're really meant to receive is going to feel discordant. And that's because of this alignment, the way your body is set up. So the messages coming from the heart to the brain, the messages coming from the heart to the body, they're already there. It's just we either block them or we allow them. So when we're in a mind state that's embracing all of this, I love myself infinitely, I allow myself to receive infinitely just for showing up, there'll be a coherence in the body. You'll feel fluid and you'll feel light. To the degree you bump that out and you're like, yeah, Kim, right, just for showing up. Sure, that's not how it is for me. I have to work hard. You don't understand what it's like. When we're in that, it's a discordant state and it will block our ability to know that truth and to receive.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. If I'm curious about having, you know, what just showed up for me to ask you was maybe it's a daily practice or two. Like, what kind of daily practice would you recommend? Because something like this, you could kind of nurture and grow a little bit bigger each day. Like you wouldn't have to get there right this instant and sense that all is well and I'm beautiful and I'm loved infinitely because I exist. What are some things?
Yeah, I can share a really helpful one that's kind of like wherever you are on the scale, it's really useful because sometimes we're down lower on the scale and you're like, oh, it just, everything feels so heavy. Sometimes we're a little higher and it's more accessible to feel positive. And I do have the video on YouTube called Heart Brain Coherence for Healing. And Heart Brain Coherence for Healing is sharing a little bit more about that, what we just talked about and how to do a particular exercise there. But this one, so like sometimes we're in fear and shame and anger and resentment. And you're like, oh, how do I feel positive? Well, it's too big a jump. You don't need to feel positive, but you can actually just allow what you're feeling. And that is more positive. Just allow whatever you're feeling. It's okay for me to feel whatever I'm feeling right now. And one thing I do, especially when a lot of fear comes up, which for me, moving from like scarcity consciousness into abundance consciousness in a bigger way, like when I really just, you know, sometimes you just gotta like the pedal hits the metal, or people say, put your money where your mouth is. It's all well and good to say, oh, la, la, la. Oh, but I'm going to keep my money and hoard it over here and be really careful and protect. It's when we actually really put our life on the line to say, this is the truth I choose to stand in. We've got to be willing to let go of everything. And in the ego mind, the limited mind, it's like, oh my God, I could lose everything. And a lot of fear came up. And I would just like for that whole month, maybe it was a couple months of integrating that, just touch my body, skin on skin, and say, body, it's okay for you to let this go. Because I'd feel but if I do this, I won't have enough clients. But if I do this, I won't have enough money. But if I do this, I could end up, you know, destitute. And then you paint this whole picture of like the worst thing happening. And, you know, people can take you through that exercise of like, well, what is the worst thing? Well, what then? Well, what then? But what actually that's about is be willing to meet the depth of your despair. And you don't have to have that happen in the external life, in your physical reality. Well, it doesn't matter if it does. It doesn't even matter. Because
I always ask for the key learnings without necessarily having the key experience.
Yeah. Well, and I used to too, because it was like, but I don't want to really go through that. But I don't want to really go through that because I thought my external reality was like the true reality. And it was like, that's not even true. Like, you can let your external reality go, whatever it's going to do, and you actually can emerge through it. And everything suddenly works itself out, and everything suddenly dissolves. Like, the problems dissolve when you come into this alignment.
Wow.
So now it's like, you go through it, you don't go through it, it's okay. And I get myself off the hook for any ways I kind of needed to have that lesson in a more loud, overt way.
Something's showing up for me to ask
you. It's okay. I'm going through.
I'm being shown to ask you about this. You have this beautiful relationship with your children. And I was curious about some things that show up for me where loving, like, what is it? Measuring their behavior. It's this weirdest thing that shows up that I'm just asking you to shine light on, where I'll measure my worth on their behavior. Like, if they're doing really well, I'll be like, oh, I'm kicking ass as a mom. Or if they're really screwing up, I'll be like, what the hell's going on? And so then love can get kind of twisted there. And I know no one else has had this experience with their parents, right? Where there's like some twisted things going on. What can you tell us about that sense of allowing, or whatever it is that shows up for you around that question where you're loving your children?
It's especially with children, and also like any kind of intimate relationships. It's so important to love ourselves unconditionally, because all the ways that my love for myself is conditional, that's going to show up in my closest intimate relationship. So if I conditionally love myself, then they're doing well. Oh, I feel good. They're doing bad. Now I feel bad. It's conditional on, did I do a good job? Did I not do a good job? And if I love myself unconditionally, I had a lot to integrate with this when I got in the relationship with my now husband, because it was so intense. It really called me to meet myself more fully. And so any way that it was conditional, then like if things weren't going well with him, or if he was throwing judgment at me, or if he was, there were all kinds of crazy things that happened. Right. I would feel so unthinkably bad. Like, oh my God, because I would be willing to judge myself. Yeah. And the relationship we have now is so based in unconditional love. And because we both carved that out, I am willing to love myself unconditionally, even if I'm quote unquote crazy, even if I'm quote unquote unstable. Like, these were all the judgments I had on myself. Yeah. Even if I'm selfish, like there were particular triggers for me.
Because you break out of molds all the time. So then there's going to be some things where you could start having this self-judgment. That's fascinating. And I know you teach that in your Be the Medicine relationships program. Yeah, I know you teach that, where you talk about being the healer, like healing yourself, being the healer.
Well, and being the space that allows healing to happen. Because if you ever try to heal yourself, freaking lots of luck. You're in for a really hard journey. Because I had that experience in the past. Understand mind better, and then like, oh my God, I must be doing something wrong. Oh my God, maybe I'm doing something right now. Okay, no, I'm not. It's the same thing with parenting. It can't be about because I am so fallible and so imperfect. But if I just make space for that in the equation, I can still always receive what I need. And that's really what allows me to be a great parent. So when I choose the medicine as a practitioner, as someone facilitating others' healing journey, I can truly, like, by showing up in my highest space of ease and unconditional love, I am holding the container for unthinkable healing to occur. Like, truly unthinkable. It goes beyond the realm of what the mind thinks is possible, what the realm of what conventional medicine says is possible, and healing can occur, and it's truly extraordinary. But it's to the degree that I can show up and allow something. And that has to do with my embodiment. Who am I being? Am I being someone who's unconditionally willing to love herself in her shame, in her fear, in her total being messed up, all the judgment, the way I think I could be messed up or unacceptable, and realize, yes, I am. Here I am. I breathe in, I breathe out, and I'm willing to breathe fully and be fully alive with all of that. Then I can be someone who invites others to be fully alive. My children, and making space for them and all of who they are to show up, and with my clients. And unthinkable things happen because there's the power within those individuals. I'm not their healer. They're not their healer. It's something within them.
I have to touch on this. I'm always being shown questions, and I always know, like, they're probably questions my audience would love. If I look in the mirror and I look at my body, you know, how hard is it to love your own body when you're told, kind of like maybe from 5th grade, that you weigh too much, or you weigh too little, or you're too thick, or you're too fat, or you don't have a big enough butt, or all those things that people do against themselves.
Yeah.
What are some tools for really shifting that? Because as you were talking about that unconditional love, I was shown some of all the body stuff that I certainly got thrown growing up.
There is a lot to this. And
I know
a lot deeper into this with resources in the Instant Elevation program. If people want to go deeper, on the website, drkimd.com, I created the Instant Elevation program that specifically assists you with these integrations. But let's do something here that I think is the most important thing. That when we realize love is a verb, it's an action, it's a choice. I can choose to love my body unconditionally. Doesn't mean that I feel so great about my body all the time, or I like my body. Like that part, it's not a matter of like, oh, either you do or you don't. Well, I guess I don't love my body. It's a choice. So if I look in the mirror, the first thing is being aware and present to what comes up. Is there a heaviness that I feel, or a loathing, or like you'll feel like a slimy feeling, or a judgment, like it'll feel physical. It'll feel slimy or heavy or thick, or, you know, you'll feel a physical representation of that energy. So if you're in awareness, you can actually just feel that and breathe through to transmute that energy. But the other thing is, you know, you glance at yourself in the mirror when you walk by, and there's certain body parts that I'm always looking at because I'm like, is it okay? Is it okay? Is it okay? Can I judge it? Can I fix it? Should I improve? And what I do every time is I love you. I love you. I love you. I overlay that on whatever little record is playing that I'm doing. And I say, I love you to my body. I love you. And I say, I love you to the judger, the one who's got this little thing going on. Instead of trying to make her get over it or change it or not do that.
Right, which seems like it's just full on resistance, which all it's doing is like making it stick deeper, right?
Yeah, so it's a choice. I choose to love it, my body, and I choose to love whatever those heavy energies are that I'm trying to judge, and I choose to love that I'm judging. It's a lot of love to go around in that one little flash of a moment walking around. It's so important. It's so nutritive to your body.
This is just an amazing conversation. Dr. Kim D'Eramo, if you just tuned in, I want you guys to know she has a podcast. She has a Mind Body TV show. She has beautiful gifts on YouTube. You can just tune into her vibration and change. Tell us maybe about one of your favorite products you'd like to share with our audience.
Well, okay, so I did mention the Instant Elevation because I created that from, having allowed my body to come into healing and totally reverse an autoimmune illness. I was able to really look and see, like, what was that harmony that I allowed to be created? How did I do that? How did I invite that? How did I let that instill itself? How did I come into that alignment? And so that program is like videos to walk you through just really fun integrations of that. And they're really light and easy. And I do have this other favorite program because I love EFT tapping, meridian tapping, and the way that I've used it is more about self-nurturance and self-love rather than how a lot of people use it to escape or change something or fix something.
Fix something, right.
When we do go into self-nurturance and self-love, everything transforms. That part is, I guarantee you, that will happen. It happens. But if I'm using EFT to try to fix something, it just becomes another obsessive, compulsive. It's a compulsion.
Right.
And I'm really avoiding meeting myself more fully. So there's no actual healing that can happen. So I created a mini course to share why does that work? How does it work? And how do you use that so you can use it for anything? And Nick Ortner, who has the, he's a lot of work on tapping, his first site was tryitoneverything.com, because tapping is like, use it on anything. You don't like your hair today, or your kids are driving you crazy, or you think you're inadequate in bed, whatever. It's all emotional.
Yeah.
So I love that, that mini EFT course I created, because it's really easy to for people to receive it. And
perfect.
People have received so much just from that little
I love it. Well, be sure to share the links, and thank you for coming, Dr. Kim.
Great to see you. Love.